Welcome to Historic Coins Vault, where every coin tells a story and every discovery could be worth a fortune. Today, we're diving into the rarest US coins, some so valuable, collectors would pay a small fortune just to hold them. Stay with us, because what you're about to see might surprise even the most seasoned treasure hunters. So on. Top 1, we're exploring a coin that may seem familiar. It's a coin most Americans have held countless times, but in reality, it holds the potential to be a rare and highly valuable collector's item. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1967. If you're a coin lover, pay very close attention, because this coin has a story, a history, and a rarity that makes it truly fascinating. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, and over the decades it has become one of the most recognized coins in the United States. The 1967 issue is particularly interesting because it was minted during a transitional period. This was the year just before the U.S. Mint stopped producing quarters with silver for general circulation. These coins were struck in a composition of 40% silver and 60% copper, making them highly desirable for both collectors and investors in precious metals. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington, detailed and dignified, while the reverse proudly displays the classic eagle with outstretched wings, a symbol of strength, freedom, and national pride. While millions of these quarters were produced, what makes some 1967 Washington quarters so valuable are rare minting errors and exceptional preservation. Some coins from this year show striking double die errors, where letters or parts of the design appear duplicated. Others are off-center strikes, misaligning the eagle or Washington's portrait in unusual ways. There are even examples where the coin's planchet was improperly prepared, missing part of the silver layer, which creates an eye-catching and highly sought-after anomaly. Each of these errors is completely accidental, unique, and impossible to replicate, which is exactly why collectors compete to find them. Condition also plays a huge role. A 1967 Washington quarter that has never been circulated, with sharp details, original mint luster, and no scratches or marks, is already highly desirable. But when such a coin also carries a major, verified minting error, its value can increase dramatically. Collectors aren't just buying a coin, they're holding a piece of history, a story frozen in metal, and a tangible reminder of an era when silver coins still circulated in everyday life. What makes this coin even more thrilling is its journey through history. Millions of these quarters passed through cash registers, vending machines, and wallets, often being spent without a second thought. Few were preserved in pristine condition, which is why discovering an error-bearing, uncirculated example today is like uncovering hidden treasure. For collectors, the thrill of finding such a coin is part of the excitement, turning what seems like ordinary change into an extraordinary collectible. The 1967 Washington quarter proves that modern history can be just as valuable as ancient coins. It reminds collectors that rarity isn't just about age, it's about minting anomalies, condition, and the stories coins carry. For enthusiasts, this quarter represents history, opportunity, and the thrill of discovery. So, if you happen to find a 1967 Washington quarter, take a closer look. Examine the details, check for unusual markings or minting errors, and consider its condition carefully. Under the right circumstances, with a rare error and flawless preservation, this coin has amazed collectors by reaching values as high as $81,000. Top 2, we're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1968. For coin enthusiasts, this quarter is not just a piece of everyday currency, it's a fascinating glimpse into history, a potential collector's gem, and a coin that demands a closer look. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, and it quickly became one of America's most iconic coins. The 1968 issue is especially intriguing because it represents a transitional moment in U.S. coinage history. While silver quarters were still circulating, this was a period when the U.S. Mint was making slight adjustments in production techniques, making certain coins from this era especially interesting for collectors. The obverse features the classic portrait of George Washington, his profile bold and dignified, while the reverse proudly displays the American eagle with outstretched wings, symbolizing freedom, strength, and national pride. While millions of Washington quarters were minted in 1968, the real excitement for collectors comes from rare minting errors and coins in exceptional condition. Some examples from this year exhibit dramatic double die errors, where letters or elements of the design appear doubled, creating a striking and unusual effect. Others were struck off-center, cutting into the eagle or Washington's portrait, which makes the coin visually unique. There are also rare coins missing part of the silver layer or struck on the wrong planchet entirely. These errors are accidental, one of a kind, and nearly impossible to replicate, which is why collectors value them so highly. Condition is also critical in determining a coin's value. A 1968 Washington quarter that has never been circulated, with sharp details, full original luster, and no scratches or wear, is already highly desirable. But when an uncirculated coin carries a verified minting error, its value can increase dramatically. Collectors are not just acquiring a coin, they're holding a piece of history, a tangible story, and a rare artifact from a transitional moment in American coinage. What makes this coin even more exciting is its journey through everyday life. Millions of these quarters were spent in cash registers, vending machines, and wallets, and most were never preserved. Discovering a pristine, error-bearing 1968 Washington quarter is like uncovering hidden treasure. For collectors, the thrill of spotting something extraordinary in what seems like ordinary change is part of the magic of the hobby. The 1968 Washington quarter is proof that modern coins can still hold tremendous value. Age alone does not determine rarity. Minting anomalies, condition, and historical significance all combine to transform a simple quarter into a prized collector's item. For coin lovers, this quarter represents history, opportunity, and the excitement of discovery. So, if you happen to find a 1968 Washington quarter, examine it carefully. Look for unusual markings, minting errors, and assess its condition. Under the right circumstances, with a rare error and flawless preservation, this coin has astonished collectors by reaching values as high as $79,000. Top 3. We're diving into a coin that might seem familiar, one that has passed through countless wallets, cash registers, and piggy banks, but for collectors, it could be a rare treasure. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1969. Pay close attention, because this coin has a fascinating story, and under the right circumstances, it could be worth far more than its face value. The Washington quarter has been one of America's most iconic coins since it was first issued in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The 1969 quarter represents a period of transition in U.S. coinage. These quarters were still minted with a silver composition of 40% silver and 60% copper, making them highly sought after by both collectors and investors in precious metals. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, crisp and dignified, while the reverse displays the powerful eagle with outstretched wings, a symbol of strength, freedom, and American pride. Every detail, from the sharp lines of the portrait to the carefully engraved feathers of the eagle, reflects the artistry of the mint during this era. What makes the 1969 Washington quarter so interesting for collectors is the combination of rarity, condition, and potential minting errors. Some coins from this year show dramatic double die errors, where lettering or design elements appear doubled, creating a unique and eye-catching effect. Others were struck off-center, leaving parts of the eagle or Washington's profile cut off, which makes them instantly recognizable. There are also examples with missing or partial silver layers, exposing the copper core beneath, and in extremely rare cases, coins struck on the wrong planchet entirely. These anomalies are unintentional, unique, and impossible to reproduce, which is exactly why they are so highly prized by collectors. Condition is crucial. A 1969 Washington quarter that has never been circulated, with crisp details, full luster, and no scratches, is already desirable. But when such a coin carries a verified minting error, its value can increase dramatically. Collectors aren't just buying a coin, they're holding a piece of history, a story frozen in metal, and a tangible connection to an era when silver quarters were still part of everyday life. The journey of this coin through history makes it even more exciting. Millions of 1969 quarters were used in ordinary transactions, making pristine examples increasingly rare today. Discovering a flawless, error-bearing Washington quarter from this year feels like uncovering hidden treasure. For collectors, the thrill comes from spotting something extraordinary in what seems like everyday change, turning a familiar coin into a remarkable collectible. This coin proves that modern quarters can still carry significant value. It shows that rarity isn't just about age, it's about minting errors, preservation, and the story a coin carries. For collectors, the 1969 Washington quarter represents opportunity, history, and the excitement of discovery. So, if you happen to come across a 1969 Washington quarter, examine it carefully. Look for unusual details, check for minting errors, and assess its condition. Under the right circumstances, with a rare error and flawless preservation, this coin has stunned collectors by reaching values as high as $75,000. Top 4. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1972. This coin may look familiar to most, but for collectors, it represents a fascinating mix of history, rarity, and potential fortune. Listen carefully, because what you might see as an ordinary quarter could actually be a hidden treasure. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since its introduction in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The 1972 issue is especially interesting for collectors because it comes from a period of standard silverless quarters, yet it has rare characteristics that make certain coins highly desirable. The obverse features the classic portrait of George Washington, crisp and dignified, while the reverse displays the iconic American eagle with outstretched wings, a timeless symbol of freedom, strength, and national pride. Every line of the design reflects the meticulous craftsmanship of the United States Mint. What makes some 1972 Washington quarters so exciting for collectors are the rare minting errors and variations that occurred during production. Some coins from this year show double die errors, where letters or elements of the design appear doubled, giving the coin a unique and striking appearance. Others were struck off-center, creating an unusual look where parts of Washington's portrait or the eagle are missing. There are also rare examples with die cracks or planchet flaws, where the metal itself was imperfect during minting. These errors are completely accidental, one of a kind, and impossible to recreate, which is why collectors prize them so highly. Condition also plays a critical role in a coin's value. A 1972 Washington quarter that has never been circulated, with sharp details, original mint luster, and no scratches or marks, is already highly desirable. But when such a coin also carries a verified minting error, its value can increase dramatically. Collectors aren't just acquiring a piece of metal, they're holding a fragment of history, a rare artifact, and a story frozen in time. The journey of this coin through everyday life adds to its intrigue. Millions of 1972 quarters circulated in cash registers, vending machines, and wallets across the country. Very few were preserved in pristine condition, which makes discovering an error-bearing, uncirculated example feel like uncovering hidden treasure. For collectors, the thrill comes from examining ordinary coins and realizing that one could be extraordinary. The 1972 Washington quarter shows that modern coins can still hold incredible value. It proves that rarity isn't solely determined by age, minting errors, condition, and historical significance all play a key role. For enthusiasts, this quarter is not just currency, it's history, opportunity, and the excitement of discovery rolled into a small, everyday coin. So, if you happen to find a 1972 Washington quarter, examine it carefully. Check for unusual details, minting errors, and assess its preservation. Under the right circumstances, with a rare error and flawless condition, this coin has stunned collectors by reaching values as high as $73,000. Top 5. We're talking about the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1974. If you love coins, history, or rare collectibles, pay very close attention, because what looks like everyday change could actually be a hidden treasure. The Washington quarter has been one of America's most iconic coins since it was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. By 1974, the quarter had long since become a staple in American wallets, yet it continues to hold interest for collectors, particularly those who seek rare errors and pristine examples. The obverse of the coin features the classic portrait of George Washington, finely detailed and dignified, while the reverse showcases the American eagle with wings outstretched, symbolizing freedom, strength, and national pride. The craftsmanship of the mint during this era ensures that every coin, even those from everyday circulation, carries a piece of American history. What makes certain 1974 Washington quarters especially valuable are the rare minting errors and anomalies that occurred during production. Some coins from this year display dramatic double die errors, where letters or design elements appear doubled, creating a visually striking and highly collectible effect. Others were struck off-center, cutting into Washington's portrait or the eagle, resulting in coins that are immediately recognizable to experienced collectors. There are also examples with die cracks or planchet imperfections, where the coin's metal surface was flawed during minting. These errors are accidental, unique, and nearly impossible to reproduce, which is why collectors compete to find them. Condition is a critical factor in determining the value of a coin. A 1974 Washington quarter that has never been circulated, with crisp details, original mint luster, and no scratches or marks, is already highly desirable. But when such a coin also carries a verified minting error, its value can skyrocket. Collectors aren't just acquiring a piece of metal, they're holding a fragment of history, a story frozen in time, and a rare artifact that captures a moment from America's past. The journey of this coin through everyday life makes it even more fascinating. Millions of 1974 quarters were used in wallets, cash registers, and vending machines, and very few were carefully preserved. Discovering an uncirculated, error-bearing example today feels like uncovering hidden treasure. For collectors, the thrill comes from examining ordinary coins and realizing that one could be extraordinary, turning a common quarter into a highly sought-after collectible. The 1974 Washington quarter reminds us that modern coins can still hold tremendous value. It proves that age alone does not determine rarity. Minting errors, condition, and historical significance all combine to create a coin that collectors dream about. For enthusiasts, this quarter represents history, opportunity, and the excitement of discovery. So, if you happen to find a 1974 Washington quarter, examine it closely. Look for unusual markings, minting anomalies, and assess its preservation carefully. Under the right circumstances, with a rare error and flawless condition, this coin has amazed collectors by reaching values as high as $70,000. If you enjoyed this journey into one of America's most iconic quarters, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with fellow collectors. Keep searching, stay curious, and happy collecting.